Hello and welcome to Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is Friday, April 22nd. This is episode 300 and something. I'm Amy Beth, also known as Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and TheFatSQRRL on Instagram. I forgot to turn my phone off. This week's episode, coffee and tea, of course. You can have fancy Berkey water. It's delicious and lead-free. Sorry, I've been feeding you lead up until now. I mean, in my defense, I was also feeding it to myself. But anyway, and also the teen made spring cutout cookies. So there's like little iced sugar cookies in there, like bunnies and sheeps and tulips and butterflies. It's so cute. This week's episode will have, I'll chat a little bit about the fiber event. It will have finished spinning. It will have knitting, and it will have a tiny bit of shameless self-promotion at the end. I am finishing up. If you did pre-orders of like the eyeball bag and the bird bags, they are going out very soonly. So I'm finishing those up, and I'll have a very small update on May 1st. Oh my gosh. So yeah. That's the kind of nuts and bolts of it. If you're a patron of the podcast, A, thank you. B, get an extra cookie. Oh, there's even some Lady Alice apples in there. Just saying. I forgot about those. But also I will do prizes next time. Thank you for being patient with me. If you're not a patron of the podcast and you're interested, you can find information on the drop down below the YouTubes and things. You can find information there. You can either become a regular patron of the podcast, you can become a yearly patron of the podcast, you can just throw me a coffee via Ko-fi. Ko-fi. I've always called it Ko-fi because it looks like Wi-Fi and Hi-Fi, but apparently it's Ko-fi? Whatever. Any and all support is appreciated by not only me, but other folks who enjoy the show, so thank you. Let's get into it. Okay, so first Fiber Festival I've been to in 2 years, I want to say, right? I don't think I've been to any other ones. It was lovely. The Fiber event is an event in Greencastle, Indiana, which is about an hour west of Indianapolis. And it's always like kind of like the start, because it's in April usually. It's usually, I want to say it's almost always Easter weekend, right? But I think we are really close. I don't even think my whole head is in there. Is that better? Do you feel less like I'm in your face? Okay, yeah, we were a little close. I was a little crazy, sorry. So it kind of always just like starts the momentum. It starts the like, you know, we get the spring things going out. You never know if the weather is going to be like beautiful and sunny and warm, which it totally was this time. Or if it's going to be like gale force winds, which it also was this time, but on Friday, and I went on Saturday. Or it's going to be snowing, or, you know, you just never know. It's lovely. But as I said, our weather was gorgeous. We had a lovely time. I took a class in the morning with Kate Larson, who is just, if you ever have a chance, she is such an amazing instructor. She talked about, I took the class that was spinning sound singles, and I tell you what, classes are the best, okay? I am all in on classes. My printmaking class is like blowing up my brain with ideas and things I want to do. The spinning class, so lovely. Have I spun single yarns? Of course I have. Well, not of course, but I have. I've been spinning for almost 10 years now. But like, again, it's just, for me, it's just my brain type, and you may share a brain type with me, or you may just understand. Like, I know how to do some things, but sometimes I literally just have to be forced to do them. And so classes are such a good way to do that. Like, they encourage you to not be good at something because you're around other people who are learning. And so you like have this sense of like camaraderie in your newness to this thing, or again, your like apprenticeship to it. And it just gives you the space to do that. You don't think about like, oh, should I be using my time better in another way? And by better, I almost always am thinking about like, should I be monetizing this, or should I be trying to figure this out, or should I do this? And then I never end up doing those things anyway. I just end up spinning around in my head like a frantic hamster. So it's wonderful to have a director of a class that just kind of like puts you in that like, hey, settle down. We're in this space. We're going to learn together. And so I'm always so appreciative of that. So again, a great thing about spinning classes, like I know that I should be making samples. Do I ever make samples? No, because I get that 4-ounce bump of fiber and I think, well, if I make a sample with something, then I'm only going to have like 3.5 ounces to do something with. And it's already hard to do something with 4 ounce, right? But when you're in a class, they just like throw you like a little flip of fiber and you're like, oh, okay, I can just sample with this because it's, I don't have any direction for it. And it's just a very freeing exam. I need to just do that with my own fiber and just like release. Because it's not like I don't have any fiber in this house. I would like to say I did not buy a fleece. Thank you for your congratulations. It was trying. It was very difficult not to buy one. And so I appreciate your applause. But so like, yeah, like maybe I need to like just get with a couple fiber friends and be like, all right, we're just gonna like split up some braids to do sampling with. But so it was about spinning singles. So like, lovely. I did like bunches of samples and like trying to modify things to see what we liked best. And I think I learned the steaming technique from from Kate in the last class I took with her, where she just has like a little steamer, just like a little cheapy, like $15 clothes steamer. And so when you're sampling, you can just like hit it with the steam and it will kind of act in a similar way to like your final setting of your yarn, whether you're wet blocking or what have you. And so it's so magical, of course, to see your yarn transform under the steam, and you get to try out these different fibers. And then I was this one is so pretty. I was a bit surprised. I wasn't anticipating that we were to do core spinning, and core spinning has been something that I have just, I don't think, maybe I have taken a class with it, and apparently it has not stuck either way. Because I know I've tried it and been very unsuccessful. So when she said core spinning, I was like, ooh, like internally like, I don't want to learn this thing. I wasn't signed on for something I'm really not good at. But it worked out really well. She talked about, using like because when I think about core spinning, I always kind of think about like, quote unquote art yarn or yarn you might be using for weaving or something like that. But I also know that I've wanted to do core spinning in the past because sometimes with really beautiful bats, especially if you want to spin like a thicker yarn, you're like not wasting, but kind of, you're not, you're all of that beautiful, gorgeously prepared bat that like somebody has been, meticulous and like made for you by hand. You're using all that fiber in like the core of the yarn. So it's like, it feels like you're wasting a lot of it. And so one of the reasons I've wanted to do core spinning is to, kind of like cut out that central waste, because you can use like, we did both a like a mohair yarn, and then we also used like a Shetland 2-ply, kind of like a Jamieson and Smith, or the other one that is not Jamieson and Smith. But you can use anything. You could use a sock yarn, you could use a worsted weight, you could just use scraps, whatever. So it was really cool to have that approach to it as well. I think maybe I have taken core spinning and just only used the mohair, but it was challenging. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I took the class or if I just like took a YouTube. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I had core spinning success, and like I have spun, this is Coopworth silk. We have a vendor at the fiber event every year. Oh my gosh, I hope next year, because they're threatening to end it. Like all of the links on the website are down and everything. Heartbreaking. But I had purchased some of this fiber when I was a newer spinner. Alexa, stop timer. Now I gotta remember, I've gotta put pizza dough in when we're done. Okay, remember, pizza dough. Okay. Siri, set a 40-minute timer called pizza dough. The team will be very disappointed if I forget. And so I was disappointed. Okay, so let me backtrack in case I edited this weirdly. So we have a vendor at the fiber event every year. Hopefully next year as well. And they do like a coop worth silk. And I have spun it in the past and just been I've been unsuccessful with it. Like it felt very ropey. It felt like just like this super dense yarn. It was super helpful to have somebody else say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm doing like very Jonathan Van Ness hands at you. I haven't even watched Jonathan for a minute. I don't know what's happening. But like my yarn was just like not really what I liked. And so they have beautiful fiber every year, but I'm always like, oh no, I'm apparently not good at that. So it was wonderful, A, to hear her say that that is a common experience with that blend. And then B, to core spin it. And I have this beautiful, super fluffy little sample. What? And so the yarn kind of takes upon the characteristics of its core, not 100%, but more so. And so you can get more elasticity if you want, because this yarn, when I spun, was very unelastic. So you get a little bit more elasticity. You can get some characteristics of that core, and it was very exciting, and it's so fluffy. And then we also did thread wrapping, which I've also done before, and like was okay with, but not super jazzed about. And she did it in a slightly different way, which helped me quite a lot. And so I made some fun little, like, this is like core spun and thread spun in places. Are you kidding me? And this is also the Cooper silk, and it's like almost metallic looking. Okay, I can't tell if it's focusing. Let me just lift my boobs up on the table. Some of y'all know what I mean, so I can get a little closer to you. And so it has like almost this like metallic quality between the color of the fiber, the silk and the content, and this like, this is a silk wrap. It's a Gutermann thread that's silk. What's happening? I feel like we're all over the place in our framing today. Did I just bump it? I bumped the camera. All right, get some of my paneling there. Sorry, I'm not going to stop to readjust. We're just friends. But so it was really exciting. And then I also did some thread wrapping that failed horribly, but wonderful when you fail in a class and you can actually have an instructor be like, actually, I figured it out. But normally I would have just been like, oh, I'm doing something wrong and I have no idea what it is. But seeing people next to me be successful with it, I could say like, okay, like what is different about how we're doing things? And like, why is it working for them and not for me? So, I mean, 100%. Take a class. This core spinning's pretty good. I mean, this almost makes me want to make a Waldorf doll that my child will never use because, well, A, they're 15 now, but they didn't even use them when they were a kid. And so we also did just some like little sampling where you just take your unfinished yarn and like wrap that on a card. Ooh, this is my glue dots coming off. So that you could get a better idea of like what it would look like while it was actually on the wheel before you finished it. Anyway, it was just great. Kate Larson, I mean, I've never, like every class I've taken with her, which I think has only been 2, but just amazing. She's a great instructor. I'm so fancy. This is like, I'm making a Baroque cravat, and this is the trim. That's how fancy I am. And I keep bumping you. I'm sorry. What is... Okay, I am going to stop now. It was getting a little crazy, but what's happening now? I don't know, whatever, y'all. But of course there was also shopping. So... Knitspin Farm, I mean, so many people were there. Every time I go to a festival and there are people, I'm like, vendors are so awesome. And of course, also being a person who makes their living slightly drunk. What is God? I don't know what's happening. who also makes their living from fiber and people. And there's like, I want to just like support everybody and buy all the things. But of course, limitations are a thing. But I will show a few things that I did purchase. So of course, Knitspin Farm was there. And she makes my favorite self-striping sock yarn. This one is called More Flowers, Less Lawn. And it's inspired by the bees of Saw Wet Farm. And this one is called The Good Stuff, which is inspired by the chickens. Or I shouldn't say inspired by, like literally created by. The chickens and the bees created these colorways. But especially I have to tell you the chicken one because it's thick stripes of oat and molasses, thin stripes of sunflower, lentils, split peas, and cracked corn. And these are both fingering weight, 90% superwash tarhy, 10% nylon, which is just like the best toothy base ever. Knitspin Farm has it, Woolens and Nosh has it, and I'm sure, you know, of course, lots of other folks have it as well. But just one of my favorites. I did finish a pair of my Knitspin Farm socks, but they're in the laundry. So, because I had to wear them to the festival. So I finished one pair, so I got two more. Whatever, my math's not good. It's fine. It's fine. Also in yarn, there was a vendor that I had not, that was new to Greencastle this year. And she's just called Purveyor of Fine Yarns, the Purveyor of Fine Yarns. And she had some breed specific yarns that were startlingly affordable. She had this one, which is Cormo. And this one is 100% Cormo wool. She said all of the fiber producers are local to her. She's in Wisconsin. Or, I mean, roughly local. Like, I think they're all in Wisconsin. So this one is 290 yards, so it's a DK, and it is so soft. I'm so excited about it. I love Cormo so much. Spoiler, I also bought some Cormo fiber. I did not buy a Cormo fleece though. I didn't. It's very tempting. But this one is Westfield Woolies. They're always at our show and their fleeces always look so gorgeous. This one is a Cormo bamboo silk blend. There's another word in there, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Cormo. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, it's a Cormo Border Leicester blend with bamboo silk. I gotcha. So I have to buy stuff from them because Cormo is so fun. It is so fluffy. But so she actually had this yarn and it was very affordable. And she had lots of different ones. She had some Clun Forest. She had some Polypay. And she had some other things too. But then I also purchased from her this Corriedale, which is a 450 yards to 4 ounces, which is, of course, fingering weight. So I'm excited. I got 2 of these and enough of these for kind of like a sweater vesty-ish. But I think I'm going to do more of like, I don't know what that's called. So I feel like we're super tilted. What's happening? I don't know, people. You're like, shut up about it. Okay, I get it. I'm sorry. Okay, I don't want to get through it, but like, kind of like a very like espace tricot, kind of like shifty, a shift kind of. I'm a shift, and I'm a sweater vest, kind of a vibe. That's what I think I'm gonna do. I don't know. We'll see. Oh my gosh, that's all I bought. I'm like a saint. Shh. I did have regrets. I had some things when I got home. I was like, oh, dang it. Oh, I have a sock to show. Okay, I'll just show you next time. Because I also started a sock. But I'll show you that next time. Okay, so. Let's talk. Oh, so just in general, it was beautiful. We had a meetup, which was so awesome. We just all sat around in camp chairs and like kvetched about 1980s gym uniforms. We talked about kids and backpacking skills, and we talked about gel printing. I mean, it was lovely. There were some recipe exchanges, I feel. You know, it was just so nice. So thank you. If you came and stopped by, thank you so much. It was lovely to see you. And it's just such a treat to be able to go and do a fiber festival and have that kind of, you know, visiting time. I love it. It was so wonderful. So are you going to any festivals this year? Where are you going? I'm not going to do the big two this year. So Maryland, of course, is coming up, and Rhinebeck. I don't believe I'm going to either of them. But I do believe that I will go to the Wool Gathering at Young's Dairy, which is in Yellow Springs, Ohio. That's in September, I want to say. And of course, I'm going to SSK. Oh my gosh. I'm vending, I'm attending, doing all the things. So if you're attending, we'll talk. If you're not able to attend, but you can get to the market, it's in Nashville, Tennessee. You can find out more information. Super Summer Knit Together. It's a great market. I'll be there. Lovely humans will be there. It's always a good time. Okay. Spinning. Did I put that first? I didn't put it. Okay, I'll just save this spinning until next time because I wanted to talk about the fancy breed of sheep. Apparently I didn't bring the tack. So I finished, I've had this on the wheel for an embarrassing long time, but Nest Fiber puts out like kind of like a 6-pack usually of solids that are inspired, or semi-solids that are inspired by her monthly club. So they're coordinates essentially to the monthly club, but they're available for pre-order for folks. And so I purchased one because it was Rambouillet, and I love Rambouillet so much. And very enjoyable. So it was like 6 little bumps of fiber. And what I decided to do was to spin a 3-ply. And so I, so like, let's say one thread, one strand, one ply, if you will. One ply was like, I had a dark green and a lighter green. And so what I did is I took the fiber and like split it into little bits, probably, you know, 10 to 15, just stripping it into small strips, which I usually don't do that. But what I was thinking I would do was just kind of do a random color combination in the ply. So basically what I did is I would just roll a die, and if they were even numbers, let's say, I would spin a little bit of the light green, and if they were odd numbers, I would spin a little bit of the dark green. You can do lots of fun things with dice and randomness and spinning. They're always, you know, it's always, you can do like, I'm gonna, you know, you might roll a die and say, okay, I'm gonna spin, and I get a 3, and I'm gonna spin 3 of these little bits of the dark green. If I roll a 6, I'll spin 6 of the little bits of dark green. And you can do that too, of course, with yarn colorations and things like that. Like, just if you're not a spinner, if you just like to do knitting or crochet or weaving or whatever. Oh, the weaving. I have been a stalwart. I will not weave. I'm starting to crumble. Like, I cannot get a floor loom. I don't even think I can get a table loom. But I might be crumbling on the rigid heddle. I don't know. I'm going to try to stand strong. I will say that my stupid art center has weaving class in June and July. I'm not going to sign up for it because they'll have it again in the fall, but they might have a whole room of floor looms and I might get a little bit addicted. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to try not to in the meantime. I'm going to fight it off. I got too many new things going on. Stop. But so yeah, so lots of fun things to do with random. You can do random number generator if you don't want to do die, whatever. You do you. But I'm really pleased with how this turned out. So it's 3-ply, it's very puffy, it's very fluffy. Right? It will make an excellent foolproof cowl. I mean, I think it'd be a lovely cowl just because it is so fluffy. I'm saying cowl, not cowl, sorry. C-O-W-L. And it is just, yeah, I'm very pleased with it. Definitely not my normal color palette, but highly enjoyable. And I actually finished it. Thanks to taking a spinning class. I got home and I was like, I need to spin some stuff. So yeah, there's all that. Okay, let's talk about knitting, shall we? So I finished my shawl. I'll put in here what it's called. That I stopped the video so I would remember to do that, maybe. We'll see. It's from the 52 Weeks of Shawls, and I just started it last time. It's not been blocked, so you'll see it again. I need to block it. I used a yarn set like this. Here, I'll show you the back so you can see it better. This is Kimber of Fiber Optic Yarns, has several different gradient options. She does a unified gradient where you just like buy a cake. It's in there's two different sizes. She also does 6-pack gradient sets, so like, you know, that you can use as you will. And she also has a few circular gradients where no matter where you start or stop, it like they come back to each other. That's not me describing it well. But it's basically like if you put the gradient out on a circle, like it will match up. It doesn't go like from here to here. It doesn't go from like gold to purple. It goes gold through purple back to gold again. Okay. But it takes a slightly different path than just like directly back. It's not like just you got two gradient packs and you put them back to back. Okay, well, anyway, this one is a 6-pack. And so the base is their cashmere base, which is 80% superwash, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. But I'm bananas, so I also held it double with Webb's Southampton, which is their mohair silk. By the way, Knit Picks is having theirs on sale, and I also like theirs quite a lot, just saying. And they've both added new colors. Yay! So here is my shawl. It is slightly different. Well, it's different because I used what essentially would be a DK yarn, a fingering held with the mohair silk. So I knit mine on US 5s. I am a very loose knitter, so that would probably translate to like a 7 in standard pattern gauge. The other thing that I did different, because I had a gradient and I was definitely going to run, you know, there was like an end point to my yarn. I decided that instead of going, because the pattern as written just continues with this repeat all the way to the end, and then it's an I-cord bind off. And I kind of just got scared that I would miscalculate. And I think I would have been fine, but I just got a little chicken. So I decided what I would do is just do a garter stitch. And quite frankly, I love garter stitch. So I just did a garter stitch border, and I did do an I-cord bind off as well. So it has an I-cord edge all around. So anyway, I'll show you next time after it's been blocked. But man, like, I don't want strawberry milk, but I want strawberry milk. Right, y'all? Right? So funny. So I finished that. I did some more work on my cowl. Zoink! So this is the Uneven Surface Cowl by Dolly Bardwaj. And it is knit, I'm using Madeline Tosh singles and Hedgehog Fiber singles. But I'm holding them double. The pattern is written for DK. And so here is my outside of my pleated little close cowl. But here is my inside. Well, I mean, this will be the outside, but you're knitting it the other way. You know what I'm saying. But right. How fun is that? So I'm interested to see how blocking will kind of change the the shape. Like, I don't know if I'll block it as hard as I can to get some more length out of it, or if I'll just be happy because I'm getting close of being out of the main color. So yeah, I haven't decided, but either way, I'm excited about it because like that is such a fun texture, and like what a great way to use up this, which has been in my stash for, I'm gonna say at least 6 years. And then my Hedgehog Fibers, which was a gift from a viewer. So great way to use those up. And something that was fun. Like normally I shy away from these kind of like pleated textures because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so. But this one is really well designed in terms of she places a purl bump on the stitch that you're gonna go down and pick up to create the pleat. And that may be a common convention. That's the word. But I hadn't seen it before because again, I usually shy away from these pleated things. So having a little purl bump that indicate exactly where you're supposed to pick up was, so I recommend this if you're interested in it. It is, and it's fun. You've got a ton of rest rows. You're only doing that little funky row, you know, 1 out of 11 rows. And that's really the, like one row you kind of have to count a little bit to set up your next row. That's going to be a pleaty row. But then you just got like a bunch of stockinette around. So yeah, it's a great little do. It's a great little do. Just a fun do. My naked lady fabric from Phoebe Wall. No, I can't make you any because her Spoonflower shop is currently on hiatus. So I have a new sock on the needles. I wanted to make some more like shorty socks, so I put a new shorty sock on the needles. But I'll show it to you next time. And then also, I got sucked in. Yarn Social Kansas City, Yarn Social KC, posted on their Instagram that they had a new Lopi-ish yarn. And I had to try it. So I did. Now I want all of it. So this is, I'm going to say it wrong, but what it is, it's Lopi made from the wool of the Manchego sheeps. So the sheeps that make the beautiful cheese. And then they're, okay, so let me just, oh, it's not on here. But what it is traditionally that yarn has not been utilized for, that wool has not been utilized, I guess, for commercial yarns. And so they're making an effort to make it available. And so this is a Lopi style yarn. It's an unspun kind of like silver, and it's called Manchelopi. Manchelopi. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it Manchelopi. You know, I was like Manchopolis. Y'all are so lovely. You always like are so kind when you tell me how to say something. There's something wrong with my brain that stuff does not stick. I don't know what weirdness it is, but I have a problem. So you get it in a cake like Plotulopi. Is that right? I think that's right. Anyway, you get it in a cake just like that, and it is doubled. So the Plotulopi, like if you're gonna knit it with it doubled, you pull one strand from the outside and one strand from the inside, if I'm remembering correctly. But this one is actually wrapped double. So I am pulling 2 strands from the outside together. Like they're formed together. So it says that you can use them individually, but I think that would be a giant pain in the neck because this yarn is less sturdy in the cake than a Plotulopi is. It pulls apart easier. Now, of course, when you knit an unspun yarn, it always gets more strength in the item that you're knitting, in the garment, or in this case it will be a cowl. And it's super easy to spit splice. Like if your strands break, just kind of lick your hand and together, or you know, you can use your water. If you're fancy. So it does pull apart very easily. If that's something that frustrates you, probably not a good yarn for you. Another thing to be thinking about if you're going to use an unspun yarn is finishing. Like if you have a lot of seaming to do, you typically don't want to seam in an unspun yarn, because even like a yarn like a Brooklyn tweed shelter or loft are challenging to seam with, because they are so softly spun that they do want to break out if you break apart if you put too much tension on them. Actually, I think I'm speaking specifically of quarry. I don't know that I've tried to seam, but it's a possibility. It's just, you know, everybody's different. Like if you're a very tight tensioner, they can be really frustrating. Like if you're a very like tight wrapper, it would probably be a very frustrating experience for you. And even this, I'm doing some garter stitch in the round, and my new favorite technique for doing garter stitch in the round is to use German short rows. This does not like a German short row. So like when you pull that yarn over to kind of create your like double stitch or your 2-leg stitch, it's not happy. So I've just gone to regular wrap and turn short rows. But that said, I like it. I'm so excited. I'm excited to see what it's going to, you know, behave like in a finished object. I am going to knit, or I am knitting. I know, Gus, I'm hungry too. It's 3 o'clock. Why haven't we had lunch? You're really off your game, buddy. You know, you put them in charge of things and they just let you down. The Chirrup Cow by Asa Tricosa, Asatricosa. And it's a two-color DK cowl. You can use multiple colors. You can use 2 colors, you use 1 color. It's up to you. Basically, you're kind of making like a biased tube and then folding it in on itself. Or you could wear it without the fold. It also gives you instructions for making it more, for making it less pointy, like if you don't like the very like pointiness of it. And I'm going to do mine slightly less pointy. Excuse me. And then I'm going to use a very special skein I have from Into the Third for the contrast. It will be like this lovely, it's not really a scrummy green, but it's this beautiful, anyway, it's a beautiful green. And so I'm excited to use very special yarns together for this very special thing that will be close to my little face. It'll be exciting. There was something else I was supposed to say though. Oh, so on Ravelry, this is listed as a DK. For example, if you use 2 strands together, which, I mean, I'm sure you can use it with just, that's a nightmare. 2 strands together, you get 251 yards for 100 grams or 3.5 ounces. Or if you use 1 strand, you have 503 yards, obviously, in the same weight. So their suggested gauge, thank you, is 15 inches and 22 rows to a 10 by 10 centimeter for the double. Or 2232 for held single. So on Ravelry it's listed as a DK, but I think it would be very, very dense as a DK. So I am knitting it, I mean this pattern, I think this pattern is for sport or worsted. Yes, this pattern that I'm using is for sport or worsted. Because I started it, actually wanted to do a color work one. Oh my gosh, I have to show you. Because maybe you should make it. Oh my gosh, I'd never seen it before. And I am in love with it. There's a pattern, it's called Rabbit in Moonlit Night. Rabbit in Moonlit Night Cowl by Teresa Shizu Tanaka. Oh, this is, oh my gosh. It's not even the greatest picture. Oh, okay, well just a second. I just have to check on Ravelry because the picture is so cute. Okay, so this is just one of the projects. Oh my gosh, we're starting this again. No. We're not going to start this again. Oh no! What's happening? Right? And then the best thing is on the other side, there's a little house. Oh my gosh, are you ready? I'm dead. So I need to make this so much. Come here, guys. I need to make it so much, and I was really excited to try to use these two yarns together, but this yarn just did not want to be to that gauge. That's a very firm gauge for a DK. Well, of course, there's a range, right? But that would be a slightly firmer gauge anyway for a DK. And then with this very puffy, fluffy yarn, it was just not going to work well. And so I went to a different game plan. But oh my gosh, isn't that so cute? But I'm excited to see how this manchelope is going to work out. It's going to be so fun, I think. It's going to be so fluffy. I love that he's like, no, I'm not going to show you my face. Oh, really, Gus? Don't let people know how bad of a dog owner I am that I let you lick my face. Let you is just like a can't stop you from is probably more accurate. Okay, so that's all the knitting and spinning I have to show you. I have a very small shop update on May 1st. And I will show you that now, but if you're not interested, I will totally talk to you next time. Hello. But I am very excited about this little update. It's so cute. Okay, can you wait for just a few more minutes? I know, I gotta make the pizza dough. I know, it's gonna be late. So I have a little like sewings inspired shop update. There's this beautiful, this is a cotton canvas from Cotton and Steel, right? I just said the word cotton too many times, it got confusing. But isn't it lovely? So it is interfaced. I was going to try to be sassy and not interface it because it is heavier than a quilter's cotton because it's a canvas weight. But I just chickened out, and so I just went ahead and interfaced it, but just lightly. I don't know, I just like the bag to stand up. It makes me happy. But isn't that, it's just the most beautiful teal color. Right? I'm like, maybe I need a blouse. Maybe I need a tank. I don't know. And then, so that's going to be in large wedge size. And then in the sweater size, I have two different colorways of this print. So I have this lovely, like, dirty mustard and teal. And then there's like, ba-ba-ba. So I'll show you on the ba-ba-ba. But it's like all the beautiful sewing oceans. So you have your safety pins and your thread and your scissors and your sewing machine and your tomato pin cushion and all of the goodness. Isn't it so cute? I sewed this one upside down. I was like, this looks odd. Did I do it on any of the other pieces? Apparently, there will be a discounted bag. How did I do? Well, I mean, of course I know how I did it. Hello, I'm human. But anyway, it's very cute, even upside down. But right side up, as the designer intended, is probably, I'll try to sew the rest of them right side up. I hadn't eaten lunch, I just told you. That's what happens. So anyway, I gotta get to the pizza dough. I know, Gus. They're very upset with me. Until then, I will talk to you next time. I hope you get some sunshine with your showers, all of the good things.